by the way. Aaron's very good at downloading their songs each week onto YouTube. So Temple Peace, I think, is TUMC Peace. TUMC Peace is the YouTube channel. Anyway, thank you. So I know you can't tell by looking, but I was never very good at sports. I always thought I would be, and I always pictured myself as good at sports, but I never was. I did play some intramural sports in college, but only because they let me without auditioning or whatever, you're trying out or whatever it is you do. But one thing I was good at from the time I was little, and did it for a long time, I haven't done it recently, but I can stand on my head for a really long time. And I used to like the way it looked, the world looked to me when I was on my head. You know, the grass was kind of fringy in front of my eyes, I could walk on the clouds, and the birds would fly beneath my feet, and if I was inside, it looked like I could walk over the thresholds of the doors, and the couch, and the chairs were kind of suspended, and I liked the way the world looked when I was on my head. I think that Jesus should have asked everybody to stand on their heads when he did this Sermon on the Mount or on the plain, wherever he was, depending on Matthew or Luke. Because that's what he was doing. He was actually turning the world upside down for people. So that the people who had been fighting at the bottom of the human heap suddenly found themselves closest to him. And those who thought they were on the top of things found themselves flat on their backs looking up. The formula for the Beatitudes was nothing new. Beatitudes were common expressions in those days, and not only in religious circles. They were everyday sayings about the good life, listing virtues that anyone would have been pleased to have. So, blessed are the wise because they shall not be fooled. Or, blessed are the strong because their enemies will not defeat them. Blessed are the wealthy because they will not go hungry. That sort of thing. So in that kind of formula, the word blessed can also mean happy. The French word for that is debonair. I like that too. Debonair are those who have invested well in their old age, for they will be secure. What was so shocking about Jesus' list was not the form then, but the content, right? Blessed are the meek. Blessed are the mournful, the poor in spirit, really? I mean, who is he kidding, right? There's nothing debonair about those things. What was so happy about hungering and thirsting for righteousness or being reviled and persecuted? Rejoice and be glad? You know, no one in their right mind is going to buy those definitions of the good life. But then Jesus never went around asking for people's permission, did he? He just redefined the good life in these 9 short sentences. He just held them up for people to see. 9 portraits of kingdom people, right? Previously known as losers and dreamers and pushovers and fools. These are the chosen ones, he said. The blessed ones who shall see God face to face. These are the happy ones. The well ones, the blessed ones, the ones that will be satisfied. Not because they got some advanced copy of the rules and used them to win, but because winning was never part of their thinking. Winning was the farthest thing from their minds. This is a list of losers, make no mistake about that, right? The merciful who keep forgiving their enemies so that their enemies can trounce on them over and over again. The pure in heart who believe everything they hear, and so they empty their bank accounts to keep the crooks in business, or the peacemakers who step into the middle of a fist fight and get clobbered on both sides. These are God's favorite, Jesus insists. Not the effective, successful people in the world, but the ones who can't even compete, who wouldn't know success if it walked up and handed them a trophy. The blessed ones would insist that there had been some mistake. The blessed ones would give the prize away to somebody who needed it more. The blessed ones would put it away in the closet so that they wouldn't start thinking too much about themselves. Most of us don't know what to do with the Beatitudes. Some of us have heard them for so long that they've lost their shock value for us. They sound sort of sweet and familiar, like a Christian poem, something you should embroider and hang over your piano. Others of us hear them like new commandments, right? And we worry that we're not pure enough or meek enough or persecuted enough. But notice that there's nothing in here that says we should or we ought or we shall or we shall not. The language of the Beatitudes is not transactional language. Do this and you'll receive this. Do that and you'll receive that. It's descriptive language. This is who these people are now. And this is what the future holds for them. It's not language of law, but language of gospel. A language of hope and promise that the way things are now are not the way things always will be. And those who find themselves at the back of the bus now will be sitting in first class before the trip is over. Because this lectionary scripture is, or because the scripture is the lectionary for today, that means that people all over the world are listening to this message or a similar message about the Beatitudes today. Whether you're in a cinder block church in Kenya or if you're sitting in a shack on stilts in the wetlands in El Salvador, where you're having to listen hard because you haven't ever learned to read. Or all over San Francisco here in different churches, people speaking about this in their own languages. Much of the power of the Beatitudes depends on where you're sitting when you hear them. Now, in that landmark theological documentary, Monty Python's Life of Brian, a group is at the fringes of the crowd when Jesus is giving this sermon. And from where they're sitting, it's hard to hear, right? And they say, "What did he say?" And someone closer to him says, "He said, 'Blessed are the cheesemakers.'" And the first person's response is, "Well, what makes them so special?" Anyway, the Beatitudes sound different from on top than they do from underneath. They sound different up front than they do from the back. Up front with the religiously satisfied and self-assured, they sound pretty confrontational. Right? Where is your hunger and thirst, you well-fed Christians? Where is your spiritual poverty? Where are the bones of your soul showing through your clothes? And why aren't your handkerchiefs soaked in tears? But way in the back, with the victims and the dreamers and the pushovers and the fools, the Beatitudes sound completely different. They say, "Dry your tears, little ones. The whole earth belongs to you," even though someone else still holds the keys. It won't be long now. Heaven's gates are opening wide for you, and the first face you shall see is the face of God. They're the same words every place today. It's just the ears that change. Each of us hearing Jesus' description of the good life through our own filters, our own lens, as something foreign or something familiar, something to be sought or something to be feared. I guess you can do anything you want with the Beatitudes. People always have, right? Some ignore them completely. Some admire them and walk away. Some use them as a yardstick to measure their own blessedness. And some have used them to declare revolution. But the simplest thing to do with them, I think, is to let them stand you on your head so you can never see the world the same way again. So that you can't be sure anymore who are the winners and who are the losers. Upside down, you begin to see God's blessed ones in places you never expected to see them. Places it would never have occurred to you to look for them. You begin to see that the poor in spirit, the meek, and those who mourn are not just people you can help, but people who can help you if you let them. And that their hunger and thirst for God are not voids to be filled, but appetites to be envied. Upside down, you begin to see that the peacemakers are not just flower children, but physicians, describing and prescribing God's own tranquility. And that gotten the knack of locking their doors. Upside down, you begin to see that those who have been bruised for their faith are not the sad ones, but the happy ones because they have something worth being bruised for. And then the merciful are just handing out what they've already received in abundance. The world might look funny upside down, but maybe that's just how it looks when your feet are firmly planted in heaven. Jesus did it all the time and seemed to think that we could do it too. So blessed are those who stand on their heads, for they shall see the world as God sees it. They shall also find themselves in good company, turned upside down by the only one who really knows which way